And now, Pujya Atman Sri Swami Jyotirmayananda commences tonight's Satsang with a Sanskrit peace chant.
Om Purnamadaha Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnamevavashishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. We begin with a mystic song by Sri Swami Lalitananda, played and sung by Sri Swami Umananda and Rajneesh.
Our song tonight is called O Holy Mother Ganges. I remember the first time I saw you shining in the early morning sun, with your sparkling waters flowing on, reflecting the clouds in the sky. The trees touch me through dust in the Himalayan breeze, while the peacocks go to spring. Carry me in your arms to the sea of eternity. Holy Mother Ganges, may I be free forever. Oh, sweet river Ganges, just as you uproot unbending trees in your swift current, take my pride and ego away, away. May I be like the bamboo trees, bending in adoration and love. Carry me in your arms to the sea of eternity. Holy Mother Ganges, may I be free forever. For centuries the sannyasis with folded hands pray in the moonlight on the silvery sands, while your cool waters swirl and surged over rocks, giving a hope and joy unknown. Carry me in your arms to the sea of eternity. Holy Mother Ganges, may I be free forever. We are recording from the ashram of our revered Guru, Pujya Atman Sri Swami Jyotirmayananda in Miami, Florida. Today is August the 28th, 2018, Tuesday evening, and tonight Swamiji will be lecturing on Yoga Vasistha. This is series 2018, class number 68. And now Pujya Atman Sri Swami Jyotirmayananda.
Om Brahmanandam Param Sukhadam Kevalam Jnanamurtim Dvantitam Gagan Sadrisham Tattvamasya Lakshyam Ekam Nityam Vimalamachalam Sarvadhi Sakshi Bhutam Bhavatitam Trigunarahitam Sadgurum Tam Namami Om. Adoration to Sadguru, who is Brahman, the giver of supreme bliss, embodiment of pure consciousness, one without a second, vast as the ether, infinite, eternal, beyond the three gunas and their modifications, the supreme preceptor. This is Yoga Vasistha. Nature is creating some suspense. So. Story of Karkati continues. Karkati is mala, gross impurities. And in storyline, she is a demoness. And she has, at this stage of the story, Brahma has granted her boon that she can devour anyone, but not those who are sages. And in order to determine who is a sage, Karkati created a questionnaire. Anyone who can answer those questions, Karkati cannot devour, implying you are free of birth and death. But if you can't, that means you have not attained enlightenment. Then you are under the sway of Karkati. You are caught in the trap of birth and death. So focusing more on the questions and answers, because that they bring out the insight into Tattva Gyan, the knowledge of the self. The self is beyond the reach of the mind and senses. Let me give you a little one step back. First, in a storyline, Karkati was very hungry and wanted to devour people. And they found two handsome people emerging in the forest. One was king and his minister. That was their style of observing their subjects during the night and helping them by probing into all the situations that the subjects were to face. That's the old style. And Karkati expressed herself, presented herself as a terrible demoness, ready to devour them. But if they could answer her questions, then they could go free. Minister, in the beginning, answered various questions, and we have covered them. And now the king, she challenges the king, how is it you are keeping quiet? The minister is intelligent, but what about you? The king continued to expound the nature of the self. Since all the Karkati's questions were designed to test his understanding of the self. O Karkati, you have asked me about the nature of the self. It is this self which is the support of the three states of consciousness: waking, dream, and deep sleep. This is the question that presented by scriptures. Who am I? And the answer is, the I am in you is the self, Atma, Brahman. Easily, question is answered. But to understand the deeper meaning, that self is the support of three states of consciousness: waking, dream, and deep sleep. So first to understand, in waking state, physical body is important. If you are not aware of physical body, you are not awake. Be sure of that. When you dream, physical body is not important. Mosquitoes can dance upon your body, but you can dance in your dream, in your different realm. So, what you learn from it? You are invariable in dream and in waking. And therefore, you are not the physical body. Physical body and the dream body are variables. And variables are not this reality behind. Come to the third level, in deep sleep, even physical body and subtle body, they don't exist, but at the same time, you go beyond even your intellect and ego. Intellect and ego have their residence in deeper level of your personality. put it in more simpler way, in waking state you are identified with the physical body. In dream state you are identified with your subtle body. In sleep state you are identified with your causal body. You have three bodies: physical, subtle, causal. Bhautik sharir, sukshma sharir, karan sharir. These three bodies, they are further explained in the terms of 5 sheaths. Your physical body is called Annamayakosha, food sheath. You have to always carry good food for the physical body. Your subtle body has 3 layers. First is called Pranamayakosha, vital sheath. Without vital forces, your physical body cannot be sustained. Every function in your body is because of the energy flowing through your body. Prana, apana, vyana, and all those details. So the first layer of the astral body is Pranamayakosha, vital sheath. The second layer is mind and senses. Called Manomayakosha. The senses, they are not in your physical. Physically, you see your eyes, but eyes are in physical plane. The actual operation of experiencing vision comes in the plane of your mind. And mental functions are organized, evaluated under the supervision of your ego with the help of intellect. So all these 3 aspects go to form your subtle body. That subtle body becomes highlighted when your physical body is not operative in dream. And when even dream fades away and you slip into deep sleep, 5th layer, 5th aspect of your personality, called Karan Sharir, another name is Anandamaya Kosha. Think of we have a little box and it has 3 sections. First section contains Annamaya Kosha, physical body called food sheath. The middle section has 3 divisions: vital, mental, intellectual. It's a fashionable box, old time. And the third section has only one opening, there is no division. That's called Karan Sharir, the causal body. Causal body contains, the causal plane contains Anandamaya Kosha, bliss sheaths. That's why when you wake up from sleep, first thing that comes to your mind, how wonderful it was. You enjoyed sleep. And then you say, I knew nothing. And that gives such a sense of fulfillment. If you were to hold on to it, that's the mantra for attaining the highest goal. That's to say, in the state of highest goal, you know nothing. Nothing of this world. Because this all things. When you wake up from your dream, you don't know anything of your dream objects. You wake up. So when you know nothing of this world, that becomes the basis, that becomes absolute ananda, supreme joy, bliss. While illustrating this point, I have all mentioned 3 stages: waking, dream, deep sleep. But all these 5 sheaths are operating at every moment in your life. Physical body is right there and you are aware of it. Vital sheath is operating. Put your hand near your nose, you'll see the breath is coming. I'm joking. Prana is operating every moment. And then your senses are operating. You are aware of the feeling of your cloth. If mosquito comes near you, aware of it. You're aware of the breeze, aware of the temperature. So Pranamayakosha is operative. And you are, as you listen, you are exercising your intellect. So your Vijnanamaya-kosha, that has 3 layers. Manomaya, let me correct it. Sukshma Sharira, the subtle body, has 3 layers. Manomaya, the mind and senses. You are aware of it. Your intellect and ego. So prana, mind and intellect, ego, all 3 together is called subtle body. That's in the middle section of your box. And you are aware of all this. And while your intellect is operating, your ego is involved in it. Certain point comes to your head, your ego immediately says, oh, we listened to it yesterday. So don't work about it. I'm joking, but just to understand that your ego also determines, for example, if you are not too interested in spirituality, but looking for some quick miracle to happen, then you intellect, oh, these are palabras. You get nothing out of it. Not even a breakfast. So intellect, on the other hand, setting aside the joke aspect, your intellect begins to match up. How did you understand that point before, and how much more you are understanding, and you are getting more and more involved into the understanding. And Anandamaya-kosha within you is giving you a sense of inner satisfaction. You are not sleeping, but that state is as if beyond your conscious, a kind of satisfaction and rest that is far beyond your general experience of mind and senses. So all the 5 sheaths are operating at every moment. But when you go to sleep, that the physical body moves out, is set aside, and subtle body becomes highlighted. If you sleep, then your causal body becomes highlighted. But these three bodies, they give you spiritual ascent in a negative way. Follow the mathematics. You can describe -1, -2, -3. Or you can describe +1, +2, +3. Waking, dream, deep sleep, all three are in minus. -1, you are not really awake. You don't know what awaking is. Dream, you have gone away even from the waking state, and it is -2, so they are delving deeper into darkness. Sleep, you leapt into sleep, and that's not really any enlightenment. So these are three experiences, +1, -1, -2, -3. But what these minus experiences give you, the corresponding plus aspect. If you develop spiritual aspiration and become aware what is the goal of life, now you are waking up. +1 has entered. Now, as you advance, you begin to understand that your real experience, profounder experience, is in the state of your vasanas, subtle desires. And that will happen if you are entering into deep meditation. This is +2 experience, where you begin to see the world like a dream. And when you go to sleep, rather when you go to samadhi, it looks like sleep in description, but it's +3. Sleep is -3. Try to understand the difference, so don't confuse one with the other. 3 is the same, but understand plus and minus make a big difference. And when you begin to understand that behind all these 3 stages, the underlying reality remains the same. Like the sky remains the same, no matter how the clouds fashion themselves in different stages. That innermost support is called Atman, the self, Brahman, the absolute. And the terminology is given for that state is called Turiya, the fourth. So you have to attain enlightenment by the process of 1, 2, 3, 4. But don't go minus ways. You minus way go 1, 2, 3, you are dumped. This self is beyond the reach of the mind and senses, and therefore it is non-existent for the ignorant. So whenever you hear about the self, hear about liberation, it's a very hard time for the masses, even many intellectuals. They hear it with great attention, and then they ask, where is the ignorance? Does it exist in this earth or up in the sky? near the Milky Way. Where can you locate ignorance? Because the mind wants to locate everything in terms of time and space. Okay, 1 second more. So what I'm implying? That state of liberation, that state of reality, Brahman, cannot be envisioned or conjectured or postulated or imagined by your mind. Shouldn't give you frustration. Still you use your mind to understand that point. And that's where the spiritual teaching plays its miracle. For the ignorant, therefore, all the talk about Brahman, Satchidananda, absolute bliss, doesn't have any meaning. So God, this truth, is non-existent for the masses. For the enlightened, the world is non-existent. This is from the very advanced stage. It is not to be taken in a literal sense. Literally, in the practical world, the enlightened one will be as involved and probably more involved, not probably, in reality, in doing their duties. Whatever duty comes in your life, if you are enlightened, your duty will be without your mental distress. Therefore, it will be more qualitative, more precise, and it will give rise to more inspiration for others. So there is a difference. But having listened to this, people who develop the idea that's the way it should be, the world is all nothing, so all I should do is to go on sleeping. And that's absolutely opposite, wrong way to go. Because if you stop your self-effort in life, there will be no progress, neither here nor for higher advancement. That's what you can see in the Gita, how much Krishna inspires Arjuna to fight the battle and not just leave the battle and go to forest. The Gita says, Ya nisha sarvbhutanam tasyam jagrati sanjami. That which is viewed as a night for the masses, that night is viewed as day for the one who is enlightened. That which is viewed as a day for the enlightened is night for the masses. Understand the meaning, not literally. Otherwise, either you are healthy for day or for the night. Just as numerous flowers are contained in honey, so all enjoyments are essentially contained in the self. As nectar from different flowers blend into one honey, so too different experiences from the objects of the senses are transformed into undifferentiated experience of divine bliss in the state of self-realization. Let me go beyond this. So many words are used to help masses. It's easy to understand when you look at so many beautiful flowers. And then, how can I be benefited by it? If we could become butterflies and drink from them, but that's not possible as a human being. So, building up all this joking story. But the point is, answer is, go after the honey hive. The honey has already drawn from all the flowers nectar, the essence of what the flowers have to give. If you have honey, you have automatically taken advantage of all the flowers. Honey is the essence behind it. Similarly, everyone wants happiness. And happiness is shining in so many buds and flowers of this world. Every situation is a kind of a bud or a flower. All happenings, in other words, you are finding happiness through so many things of this world. There are three basic urges called eshanas. Putreshana, everyone wants to have progeny, and with the idea of having fulfillment of their desires. Everyone wants to have a lot of wealth, vitteshana, the idea you are going to be very happy. Everyone wants to be popular, lokeshana. And this threefold desires, they branch out to numerous desires. Every day, every moment, you are picking up little happiness here and little happiness there. You have become a little butterfly. And our happiness never satisfies you. Or Yoga Vasistha says, why not go after the source of all these little happiness, the big honey hive. And that means Brahman, the Absolute. Simple point, all the happiness you experience in the world, they don't come from the objects of the world. They are based on your vasanas, subtle desires in your mind. The moment desires don't match up with object, that object becomes useless for you. Object can be human beings or objects of the world, whichever way. So, and what does vasanas do? Vasanas polish the objects. So you will look at something and that something has been polished by your vasana. Now what are you seeing in that object? Your own face. And your face is the face of the soul. And that soul alone you love. There is nothing else. That's the reality. Everything that you love has its source in the love of the self. Why do you love? Because you will be happy. So, if you were to see more and to the degree, the more you feel that you can be fulfilled by anything, to that extent you love that object or person in a very profound way. But when vasana moves away, or when vasana changes, same object, now your vasana has changed to tamas or rajas, now your vision of love has become refracted. Instead of seeing an angel, you see a devil. But coming back to simple point, that all the pleasure that you experience in the world, they are mental illusions. Just like all the illuminations that you experience on the earth, the source behind all the experiences is the sun. The sun is the honey hive, and all the illuminations are drops of honey. Just as an elephant cannot hide itself in a field covered with tiny grasses, so the glory of the self cannot be hidden by the illusory names and forms. The world is unable to hide Brahman. That's to say, if your mind became highly advanced, then you see on one side the understanding of moksha, the absolute joy. On the other side, happiness, for which you have to hop from object to object. Happiness that never can be controlled, it never can be secured. Then, allegorical expression, that vision that sees Brahman, God underlying all things, and God is the source of happiness. That vision is like a big elephant. The vision that sees happiness in objects of the world, that vision is like little grass, lots of grass. And you can see the comparison, whether you want to be grass or the elephant. That's all. Just as a tree is contained in a seed, so the entire world is contained in Brahman. Another illustration. When you see a little seed and you learn and know, out of that seed will come a giant banyan tree. And that banyan tree will give rise many seeds. And if all those seeds were to grow, there will be millions of banyan trees. All came from starting with little seed. In the same way, the absolute seed behind this entire universe is Atma, the self, Brahman. And most shocking news, that Brahman you are. All this is Brahman. Surprising understanding. Go one step further. Aham Brahmasmi, I am Brahman. When you have come to that realization, then you are the knower of the self. He who sees non-duality is a true seer. In fact, Brahman negates the very mind and all mental concepts. Therefore, Brahman is neither duality nor non-duality. Brahman is not subtle, not gross, not born, not unborn, not gentle, not cruel, not the objects of the world, not this world, and not the subtle world. Brahman is neither existent nor non-existent. One who knows Brahman ever abides in that pure consciousness, that is Brahman, wherein the world is negated. Let me give you a simple way to understand. When you watch a cinema show, you are experiencing a whole world of past, present, and future. And while you are experiencing it, every experience has a definition. What was the cause? What will happen in future? Can you describe the screen with the same type of mind, the mind that is experiencing the projections and involved in it? Can that mind understand the screen? How can you introduce that mind to the truth about the screen? And that would imply you are saying to the person, look, the truth is not, say, if in the cinema show you are seeing wonderful scenes, you are seeing a river and deer jumping around and crows and swans and whatsoever you can imagine. And now you are being told that truth is neither this river, nor this swan, not this. You go on saying not. This hard, perplexing experience for the mind. But that's easy to understand. The cinema show is over. When it's over, there's nothing but the screen. If you know the truth, then even when the show goes on, show is not real, it's the screen that is real. This is a profound point in Hindu scriptures. And again, I will bring to you the two terminologies. One is called bhava pratyaya. When you watch the show, all that you are experiencing is experience based on projections. That type of experience called bhava pratyaya. Awareness of projection. The reality is absence of projection. Absence of projection called pratyaya bhava, where pratyaya becomes absent. When projection is present, then that's the experience of the world. You are experiencing the world led by your mind. Same situation, mind can view it in a very positive way. Our mind can view it in a very negative way. And the very situation itself is what mind has brought about through karmic process. So all your experiences are mental projections, chittavrittis. Yoga chittavritti nirodha. This is described in the scriptures in allegorical way. All you experience are the whole universe. And the universe is sustained on the countless hoods of the Shesha serpent. The Shesha serpent is the mind, cosmic mind. And all your experiences are the thought waves, like hoods coming out of the big snake. And led by all those functions, you define the universe. But your universe is as shaky as so many files that come into your computer. And they are all taken off, there is nothing but computer. Shake off your iPad and there is nothing but I. Now, reality is things that you experience in projection. See, as cinema goes on, that way you cannot describe the screen. Anything that you see in your projection, your awareness of time, awareness of place, objects, measurements. So when you start describing the screen, then you have to say, Brahman is neither this nor that, neither this nor that. And that's called neti neti, not this, not this. Yoga Vasistha continued, Karkati was immensely pleased to discover that both the king and his minister were enlightened sages. Suddenly she forgot her hunger. And she turned her whole personality into a gentle personality, a goddess, Saraswati type, Vidya Devi. And in a storyline, she agreed to live in the palace and joyously, and in course of time, she is remembered as Kandara Devi, goddess who abides in caves. There is a place in India where this story matches up. People call a certain section a cave as a very sacred cave, where Kandara Devi has been installed. And what the story of Kandara Devi is all this story. The principle of duality is the demon that must be overcome in the state of realization. For demons, we use the word daitya. Daitya, and the Sanskrit word for duality is dvaita. That gives you a subtle point of understanding. When you move away from the vision, all is one, absolute. That's Advaita. All the process and good virtues that lead you to that realization, they are called devatas. They are leading you to non-dual self. But all the negative qualities, they are called demons, dvaitas, daityas. Daityas are born out of the spirit of duality. Gods are born out of the spirit of non-duality. Another way of describing the difference is using the terms sur and asur. If you are, consider yourself a musical instrument. And if you are perfectly in coordination with well harmonized melody comes out of you, then it is sur. Everything that comes out on the basis of harmonization is wonderful. But everything that comes out on the basis of discordance, disharmony, rattling sounds, that's asur. So keep yourself in sur. Keep yourself in daily life in a perfect, harmonious style of life, where action, emotion, will and reason, they are all touched upon day by day, not going into extremes, not going to be giving more on one string and leaving other strings behind. Then the sound that comes out is not good even for yourself. As long as ignorance dominates one's consciousness, this demon exists in her terrible form, the demon of darkness, the demon of that is asur, out of tune, creating forces of darkness such as anger, hatred, pride, jealousy, passion. But when vidya dominates one's consciousness, vidya is the divine Saraswati, the knowledge. This demon becomes a goddess feeding upon these dark forces. When vidya develops, what happens to the hunger of Karkati? Now she feeds upon the dark forces, speaking the allegorical language. She doesn't go hungry. She promotes dispassion, discrimination, cosmic love, and the manifold expressions of divine goodness in human personality. This goddess exists in one's own heart. She is in fact pure consciousness, the remover of all evil and giver of immortality. That's the subtle meaning behind the story of Karkati, and we will conclude. Om Purnamadaha Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnamevavashishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Hari Om.
If you have a question for Swamiji, please raise your hand.
Pranam Swami. You mentioned about the the demons coming from the Dvaita and the gods coming from the Advaita. And I was just wondering if that doesn't just set up another duality.
Therefore, understand the simile of the cinema show. Whatever is coming out is in the state of projection. When projection moves away, nothing comes out. All even the idea Brahman is non-dual is coming from the mental projection, but that's meant to lead you to understand where a projection moves away completely, not to be taken literally. Brahman is not non-dual, because the duality never existed. The question is non-dual, doesn't arise.
Someone else? Any more questions?
You are the question.
And you are the answer. Remember, on September 9th, Sunday, we'll be celebrating Ganesh Chaturthi. We'll be starting at 5, so let's join together for a very joyous Ganesh Chaturthi and profound insight into the power and wisdom of Sri Ganesh and his stories. And we thank somebody for this unusual prasad. Oh, this prasad, we have to thank Sanahita and Nilesh, and we thank them for just getting married so that we could celebrate this wonderful prasad. And we all keep you in our hearts always and wish you the very best. And in a moment, you'll be coming for Kumkum blessing. Another reminder, although it's still a bit away, we're reminding you about Mother Worship Navaratri Puja, which begins on Friday, October 5th, and ends 10 days later on Sunday, October 14th. Remember that our normal schedule of classes in the evening during those 10 days will not be held. The full concentration will be on Mother Worship Navaratri Puja, and we'll be starting at 7 p.m. for the first 9 days. And on the last day, the day of victory, we start at 5. And now please come for Kumkum blessing.